The Judgment Hall of the Galactic Council stretched so far that its walls disappeared into darkness at the edges. Ambassador Robert Hayes stood at the center of a circular platform, suspended in midair by technology he still did not fully understand. Around him, rising in endless tiers like an ancient amphitheater, sat representatives from 412 different species. Some had faces. Others were clouds of gas contained in crystalline spheres. Still others existed as pure thought, their presence marked only by glowing symbols floating in the air. Robert kept his hands relaxed at his sides, even though his heart hammered against his ribs. Beside him stood Colonel Ann Mitchell, her military uniform crisp and perfect, her eyes scanning the alien assembly with tactical precision. On his other side, Dr. Marcus Webb adjusted his tablet nervously, though Robert knew the nervousness was partially an act. Marcus was many things. Genuinely nervous was rarely one of them. Chancellor Torin dominated the highest platform, his massive form casting shadows even in the ambient light of the chamber. The Malor species had evolved on a high-gravity world, and Torin looked like he could crush stone with his bare hands. His voice, when it came through the translation field, rumbled like distant thunder. The human delegation will address the charges brought by the Vexian Confederation. 43 Vexian trade vessels have vanished in the past 6 months. 28 Vexian military outposts have suffered total system failures. The Vexian intelligence network has gone completely silent. Evidence points to human involvement in all incidents. Robert waited 3 full seconds before responding. Let them see a human who was not afraid. Let them see someone who chose his words carefully rather than rushed to defend himself. Chancellor Torin, I appreciate the opportunity to address this distinguished body. However, I must confess some confusion. Is the Council accusing Earth of these incidents? Because if so, I would very much like to see the evidence. A murmur rippled through the assembly. Several translator fields crackled with what might have been surprise or anger. It was hard to tell with alien emotions. Torin's 3 eyes narrowed. The Vexian Confederation has provided extensive documentation. Traces of human technology at each site. Witness testimony placing humans near each incident. Financial records showing Earth-based funding for anti-Vexian operations. Fascinating, Robert replied, his tone remaining pleasant and conversational. May we review this evidence? Holographic displays materialized throughout the chamber, showing wreckage, data logs, and surveillance footage. Robert studied them with the expression of a teacher reviewing a student's homework. Not dismissive, but clearly evaluating. Chancellor, I notice that all of this evidence originates from Vexian sources. Did the Council conduct independent verification? The silence that followed told Robert everything he needed to know. The Council had accepted Vexian claims without question because the Vexians were an established member species, and Earth was barely 2 years into provisional membership. The Vexian Confederation has been a Council member for 600 years, Torin said stiffly. Their credibility is well established. Their credibility regarding what, exactly? Colonel Mitchell stepped forward, and something in her movement made several predatory species in the assembly lean forward instinctively. She moved like a hunter, and every predator recognized another. Are we discussing the Vexians' credibility in reporting incidents? Or their credibility in being honest about why these incidents might be occurring? Because those are 2 very different things. Explain yourself, Colonel, Torin demanded. Mitchell did not look at Robert for permission. They had rehearsed this moment for weeks. The Vexian Confederation attacked Harmony Station 8 months ago. They killed 4,200 humans, civilians, families. They did it slowly, methodically, and they broadcast the entire massacre on their entertainment networks. Viewers paid premium rates to watch humans die in real time. The chamber erupted. Some species shouted in anger at the accusation. Others demanded evidence. A few simply left their seats and departed. Wanting no part of what was clearly about to become very ugly, Torin slammed his massive fist against his platform, and the impact sent a shockwave through the chamber that silenced everyone. The Council investigated the Harmony Station incident. We determined it was a territorial dispute that escalated beyond control. The Vexian Confederation paid reparations. The matter was closed. Paid them off, Robert said quietly. But his voice carried through the translation fields to every corner of the vast space. 4,200 humans murdered for entertainment. And the Council's response was to accept money and declare the case closed. The internal affairs of member species are not subject to Council jurisdiction, Torin replied. But there was something defensive in his tone now. We cannot interfere with them. Why are we here? Robert interrupted, and now his pleasant tone was gone, replaced by something cold and hard. You just said the Council does not interfere in internal affairs between member species. So why are you judging Earth for how we responded to the Vexian Confederation? If Harmony Station was outside your jurisdiction, then surely our response is as well. Dr. Webb chose that moment to step forward, and his nervousness had completely vanished. He touched his tablet, and new images flooded the holographic displays. The translation field struggled to process the screams. This is footage from Harmony Station, Webb said in a clinical, detached voice that somehow made the horror worse. The Vexian military did not simply kill our people. They tortured them. They made it last. They focused their broadcasts on children watching their parents die. They took requests from viewers about who should be killed next and how. Many species could not watch. Some covered their visual organs. Others simply shut down their translation fields, so they would not have to hear. Webb let the footage play for 2 minutes and 37 seconds. Then he stopped it on a frozen image of a Vexian soldier laughing while a human child cried. The Galactic Council determined this was a territorial dispute. Webb continued. You accepted 80 million credits as reparations. That works out to 19,000 credits per murdered human. The Council put a price on our people's lives and expected us to accept it. We followed established protocols, a voice called from the assembly. Though the speaker remained hidden. Yes, you did. Robert agreed. You followed your protocols, made your determination, and closed the case. And then the Vexian Confederation sent diplomatic envoys to Earth, expecting us to negotiate trade agreements and move forward as if nothing had happened. He took a step toward the edge of the platform, and his voice dropped to something that made even Chancellor Torin shift uncomfortably. So let me clarify something that apparently was not clear when Earth submitted our legal codes for Council review. Humanity does not negotiate with murderers. Not ever. Not under any circumstances. The Vexian diplomats had immunity, Torin protested. Diplomatic protocols protect. They had no immunity under human law, Colonel Mitchell cut in. Under Earth's legal framework, anyone who deliberately murders civilians forfeits all protections. Diplomatic status, political position, species membership, none of it matters. Murderers do not get to sit at the negotiating table and pretend to be civilized. So you killed them, Torin said slowly. The Vexian diplomatic mission, all 73 delegates, executed them, Robert corrected. After formally charging them with crimes against humanity, after presenting evidence of their involvement in the Harmony Station massacre, after giving them 30 seconds to make peace with whatever gods they believed in. And yes, we executed all 73, because all 73 participated in planning, authorizing, or celebrating the murder of our people. The chamber had gone absolutely silent again. Robert could feel 412 species trying to process what they were hearing. And the incidents the Vexians reported? Torin asked. The missing ships, the failed installations, the destroyed intelligence network. Dr. Webb smiled, and it was not a kind expression. Those were not incidents, Chancellor. Those were executions. Every Vexian who participated in Harmony Station, every commander who ordered it, every broadcaster who aired it, every viewer who paid to watch, every politician who approved it, we found them all, and we eliminated them, quietly, efficiently, and without apology. Robert spread his hands, encompassing the entire assembly. For 8 months, Earth has been conducting the most comprehensive criminal investigation in human history. We identified 6,892 Vexians who directly participated in or profited from the Harmony Station massacre. We tracked them across 11 star systems. We infiltrated their networks, their governments, their militaries, and we executed justice. This is an act of war, Torin breathed. No, Robert replied calmly. This is an act of justice. War is what you have when two sides fight. This was a hunt, and it is not over. Colonel Mitchell touched her wrist communicator, and suddenly new data flooded the displays. Names, thousands of them. Each one a Vexian. Each one marked with current location, known associates. And detailed evidence of involvement in Harmony Station. 3,400 Vexians on our prosecution list are still alive, Mitchell announced. We know where they are. We K. Now where they sleep. We can reach them whenever we choose. Robert looked directly at Chancellor Torin. So here's what happens next. The Vexian Confederation surrenders every remaining individual on our list for trial under human law. Or we continue hunting them. Your choice, Chancellor. But understand this. The galaxy was warned. We submitted our legal codes. We were clear about how we handled those who murder our people. You just did not bother to read them carefully enough. The judgment chamber remained frozen in shocked silence as three humans stood calmly, waiting to see if the galaxy would finally understand. Humanity did not negotiate with murderers, and now they knew why. 8 months before the council hearing, Robert Hayes sat in his office on Earth, watching the emergency transmission from Harmony Station for the 17th time. Each viewing made it harder to maintain his professional composure. The screen showed families huddled together, Vexian soldiers moving methodically through the habitat modules, and the systematic execution of people whose only crime was being human in the wrong place. Colonel Anne Mitchell stood by the window, her reflection in the glass showing more emotion than her actual face. She had lost a brother at Harmony Station, a military engineer who had volunteered for the colony to help build better life support systems. The Vexians had made him watch while they killed his wife and daughter before executing him last. The Council's investigation report came through. Marcus Webb entered without knocking, holding a datapad like it might explode. They're calling it a territorial dispute. The Vexians claim Harmony Station was built in contested space without proper authorization. The Council accepts that explanation. Robert stopped the video playback. The frozen image showed a young girl, maybe 7 years old, reaching for her mother. Neither had survived the next 10 seconds. What are they recommending? Reparations. 80 million credits. A formal apology from the Vexian Confederation, and a suggestion that Earth pursue diplomatic channels to resolve any remaining tensions. They want us to negotiate, Mitchell said flatly. They want us to sit across a table from the people who murdered 4,000 humans for entertainment and work out our differences like civilized species, as the Council's standard approach. Marcus replied. Mediation, compensation, moving forward. They believe every conflict can be resolved through dialogue. Robert stood and walked to his office's viewport, looking down at Earth's surface far below. Humanity had reached for the stars and discovered the galaxy was full of species who had forgotten that evil existed. They had created comfortable systems where the worst crimes could be explained away with enough political maneuvering. They are wrong, Robert said quietly. There are crimes beyond mediation, atrocities that cannot be compensated with credits. And if the Council will not deliver justice, then Earth will do it ourselves. That is what I was hoping you would say. Marcus touched his pad and new displays activated throughout the office. I have been running preliminary analysis. The Vexian Confederation operates across 7 star systems with a population of 39 billion. Their government structure is distributed, their military is decentralized, and their intelligence network is sophisticated. Can we reach them? Mitchell asked, her voice carrying the calm focus of someone planning military operations. Reach them? We already have. Marcus pulled up images showing Vexian installations, complete with detailed schematics and personnel rosters. When Harmony Station was attacked, it was broadcasting continuous updates. The Vexians did not bother jamming those transmissions because they wanted everyone to see what happened. What they did not know was that Harmony Station's communication system included experimental quantum encryption protocols. He zoomed in on technical specifications. Every Vexian who tuned in to watch the massacre, every broadcaster who aired it, every military unit involved, they all left quantum signatures in our networks. We can trace those signatures back to their sources. We know exactly who watched. We know who participated. We know who profited. Robert felt something cold settle into his chest. Not anger, which was too hot and reactive. This was something else. The kind of determination that came from accepting that you were about to become someone you never wanted to be. How many? 6,892 confirmed participants. That includes the military units who executed the attack, the commanders who authorized it, the government officials who approved it, the broadcasters who aired it, and approximately 4,000 Vexian civilians who paid premium rates to watch humans die in real time. Mitchell's hands clenched into fists. They paid to watch. The broadcasts were subscription-based. High definition, multiple camera angles, real-time commentary. The Vexian entertainment industry made approximately 400 million credits from Harmony Station content. Marcus's voice remained clinical, but his hands shook slightly as he pulled up the financial records. 400 million credits, Robert repeated. They made a profit. A significant one. And when the council investigation concluded, and the Vexians only had to pay 80 million in reparations, they netted 320 million credits. From a genocide. The office fell silent, except for the quiet hum of the station's life support systems. Earth's orbital platforms were peaceful, safe, protected by defensive systems and international law. Harmony Station had been peaceful too, until the Vexians decided civilians made good entertainment. I need two things, Robert said finally. First, I need complete operational secrecy. Not even the president knows the full scope of what we are planning. Plausible deniability for Earth's government. Already arranged, Mitchell replied. I have access to units that do not officially exist. Personnel, who are very good at operations that never happened. Second, I need this to be legal. Under human law, not council law. I need a framework that justifies every action we take. Marcus smiled grimly. Already done. Earth's legal code is clear. Deliberate murder of civilians is a crime that supersedes all other considerations. Diplomatic immunity does not apply. Political status does not apply. Species membership does not apply. Anyone who murders innocents forfeits all protections under human law. The Council accepted those codes when they granted Earth membership, Mitchell added. They just assumed we would adopt their standards once we joined galactic civilization. They assumed wrong. Robert returned to his desk and pulled up the master files Marcus had compiled. 6,892 names. Each one represented someone who had looked at Harmony Station and seen entertainment rather than horror. Each one had chosen to participate in or profit from atrocity. We start with the military units, Robert decided. The soldiers who actually pulled the triggers. Make it look like accidents. Equipment failures. Navigation errors. Make the Vexians think they have a technical problem, not a human problem. That will take months, Marcus warned. Maybe years. We need to be patient, methodical, completely invisible until we are ready to reveal ourselves. Then we be patient, Robert replied. The Council thinks justice should be fast and convenient. We are going to teach them that real justice takes time, that it is thorough, that it does not stop just because the paperwork says the case is closed. Mitchell pulled up operational timelines. I will need to embed operatives in Vexian space. Deep cover, long-term assignments. People who can become part of Vexian society while identifying and tracking targets. How many operatives? For full penetration of their networks? At least 200, maybe more. And these cannot be temporary assignments. We are talking about people who will spend years living among the Vexians, learning their culture, gaining their trust, all while preparing to execute operations. They will volunteer, Robert said with certainty. Everyone who had family at Harmony Station will volunteer. Everyone who watched those broadcasts and felt helpless will volunteer. We will have more volunteers than we can use. He was right. Within a week of putting out quiet feelers through military and intelligence channels, over 3,000 people stepped forward. Former soldiers, intelligence operatives, cultural analysts, engineers, and civilians with specialized skills. All of them wanted to do something. All of them understood that what they were volunteering for would probably destroy their old lives and might destroy their souls. Marcus established the cover organizations, shell companies that traded with the Vexian Confederation, cultural exchange programs, technical consultants, academic researchers. Every operative needed a believable reason to be in Vexian space. And Marcus created legends so detailed that even the Vexians' sophisticated intelligence services accepted them without question. 3 months into the operation, they eliminated their first target. A Vexian ship captain who had commanded one of the vessels that attacked Harmony Station. His ship suffered a catastrophic reactor failure in deep space. The official investigation concluded it was poor maintenance. Nobody suspected the human cargo specialist who had spent 2 months integrating into the crew and learning every system well enough to create an untraceable failure. 5 months in, they took down an entire military installation. The base commander had personally ordered the execution of Harmony Station's children first, believing it would break the adults' resistance faster. The base's life. A port system failed due to what appeared to be a software glitch. 237 Vexians died, including 194 who had participated in the Harmony Station attack. The Vexians noticed something was wrong at month 6, but they blamed it on technical problems rather than human action. Their intelligence services investigated and found nothing because the humans operating in their space had become invisible. They spoke Vexian languages fluently. They understood Vexian culture. They had embedded so deeply that they were effectively Vexian themselves right up until the moment they struck. By month 7, Robert's team had eliminated 4,200 targets, more than half the list, and the Vexian Confederation still had not realized they were being systematically hunted. They will figure it out eventually, Marcus warned during one of their secure briefings. When enough patterns emerge, even the densest intelligence service connects the dots. Let them figure it out, Robert replied. By the time they understand what is happening, we will have eliminated the primary targets. Everyone who actually participated in killing our people. The secondary targets, the profiteers and enablers. Those we can pursue later. The Council will intervene once the Vexians complain, Mitchell pointed out. Good, we will need to have this conversation with the Council eventually. Better to have it when we have already demonstrated what humanity is capable of. Let them understand that we are not asking for permission. We are informing them of consequences. Month 8 arrived, and the Vexian diplomatic delegation departed for Earth. 73 diplomats, all carefully selected from individuals who had either participated in Harmony Station directly or had profited from it significantly. They came expecting to negotiate trade agreements and establish normal diplomatic relations. Robert met them personally at the orbital docking platform. He greeted each one by name. He reviewed their credentials. He confirmed their identities. And then, in full view of Earth's security systems and with complete legal authorization, he informed them they were under arrest for crimes against humanity. The executions were carried out within 6 hours. Quick, professional, completely legal under Earth's framework. The Vexians died not even understanding what had happened or why. And that was when the Council finally noticed what humanity had been doing for 8 months. That was when Chancellor Torin demanded Earth explain itself. That was when Robert Hayes prepared to stand before 412 species and force the galaxy to confront an uncomfortable truth. Some crimes are beyond forgiveness, and some species will never stop hunting those who harm them. The message had been sent. Now the galaxy would have to decide how to respond. The Vexian capital city of Roxas, sprawled across 3 continents on their homeworld, connected by transportation networks that moved millions of citizens every hour, Premier Colrath stood in the Executive Command Center, watching status displays that showed nothing but red emergency indicators. In the past 72 hours, the Vexian Confederation had lost operational control of systems they had relied on for centuries. Explain how this is possible, Colrath demanded, his scaled skin flushing the purple color that indicated extreme agitation. How can humans control our networks? We have security protocols. We have isolation systems. We have safeguards specifically designed to prevent this kind of intrusion. Defense Minister Tarek approached the central display with visible reluctance. Premier, the humans did not intrude recently. They have been inside our systems for approximately 8 months. Every security protocol we have, they mapped it. Every safeguard we installed, they found workarounds. Every isolation system we trusted, they bypassed. 8 months, Kolrath repeated slowly. They have been invisible in our networks for 8 months, longer in some cases. We are finding evidence of human operatives who established cover identities over a year ago. They integrated into our society, learned our languages, adopted our customs. They became so thoroughly embedded that our own intelligence services cleared them for sensitive positions. Kolroth moved to a different display, showing personnel rosters from military installations across Vexian space. Show me. Tarek pulled up files on a human named David Chen, except that was not his real name. The operative had spent 14 months working as a technical consultant on Vexian military vessels. He had security clearance. He had friends among the Vexian crew. He had been trusted completely. And he had used that trust to sabotage 3 ships, resulting in the deaths of 417 Vexians, all of whom had participated in the Harmony Station massacre. This cannot be one person working alone, Kolrath observed. This level of operation requires coordination, resources, a massive intelligence network. We estimate at least 200 human operatives currently active in Vexian space, Tarek confirmed. Possibly more. And these are not amateur insurgents. These are trained intelligence operatives supported by sophisticated technology and detailed planning. A communication alert chimed, and a holographic image of Earth's Ambassador Hayes appeared in the command center. He looked calm, almost relaxed, which made the message more threatening. To Premier Kolroth, I am transmitting this message to every major news network in the Vexian Confederation, so there is no ambiguity about the situation. 8 months ago, your government authorized and executed an attack on Harmony Station that killed 4,200 humans. You then broadcast that massacre as entertainment and profited from it. Hayes paused, letting that sink in. The Galactic Council investigated and decided to treat this as a simple political dispute. They accepted 80 million credits and declared the matter closed. Earth did not accept that resolution. We conducted our own investigation and identified everyone who participated in or profited from Harmony Station. Then we began delivering justice. He pulled up a list that made Kolroth's blood run cold. 6,892 names, each one a Vexian citizen, each one marked with participation level in Harmony Station, each one also marked with current status, deceased, detained, or targeted. 4,523 individuals on this list have already been eliminated, Hayes continued. They died in what you believed were accidents, technical failures, or random incidents. They were not accidents. They were executions. And we are not finished, Kolrath found his voice. You are admitting to mass murder. The Council will never tolerate this. We are admitting to mass execution of war criminals, Hayes corrected. Under human law, your people forfeited all protections when they deliberately murdered civilians. The Council's opinion on our laws is irrelevant. What is relevant is that 2,369 Vexians on our list remain alive. The display shifted to show current locations for every remaining target. Some were in government positions. Some served in the military. Some were civilians who had paid to watch Harmony Station broadcasts. All were marked with precise coordinates. You have 12 hours to surrender these individuals to human custody for trial, Hayes stated flatly. If you refuse, we will continue eliminating them. And Premier, we control your networks. We control your communications. We control your infrastructure. We can shut down any system, access any database, reach any target. You cannot hide them from us. This is terrorism, Kolrath shouted at the hologram. You are threatening an entire civilization. No, Hayes replied with frightening calm. Terrorism targets innocents to create fear. We are targeting specific war criminals to deliver justice. The only Vexians who need to fear humanity are those who participated in genocide. Everyone else is perfectly safe. The transmission ended, leaving Kolrath staring at a list of names that represented the complete failure of Vexian security. His own intelligence minister was on the list, marked as having authorized the Harmony Station broadcasts, 3 fleet admirals, 17 sector governors, thousands of soldiers, officials, and civilians. We cannot surrender them, Tarak said. If we hand over thousands of Vexians to human custody, we demonstrate weakness. Every enemy we have will see us as unable to protect our own people. And if we refuse, Kolrath demanded. The humans just prove they can reach anyone in Vexian space. They have been operating invisibly for 8 months. How do we fight enemies we cannot see? Intelligence Minister Vross, who was notably not on the humans list, approached with datapads showing analysis. Premier, I have been reviewing the human operations. They are disturbingly thorough. Every elimination was planned months in advance. Every target was verified multiple times. There has been 0 collateral damage beyond the intended targets. This is not revenge. This is systematic justice delivered with surgical precision. Sound like you admire them? Kolrath accused. I recognize professional work when I see it. And I recognize that fighting them conventionally is impossible. They are not an army we can defeat. They are an intelligence network that has already penetrated every level of our society. The question is not whether they can eliminate the remaining targets. The question is what it costs us when they do. Kolrath turned to his military advisors. Full combat readiness. Protect every individual on the human list with maximum security. That is 2,369 targets scattered across 7 star systems. Tar. Ock protested. We do not have enough forces to effectively protect them all. And prioritize. Focus on the high-value targets. Government officials, military commanders, show the humans we can protect our people. The orders went out. Within hours, Vexian military forces mobilized to create protective details around designated targets. The intelligence minister was moved to a secure bunker 3 kilometers underground, guarded by 50 elite soldiers. 3 fleet admirals were placed on warships surrounded by full battle groups. High-ranking officials received personal security details and were relocated to hardened facilities. The humans struck anyway. The intelligence minister died when his secure support system failed. The investigation later revealed that a human operative had been part of the bunker's construction, crew 18 months earlier, and had installed backdoors into every system. The minister suffocated along with his entire security detail. 1 fleet admiral died when his warship's navigation computer malfunctioned and steered the vessel into a stellar radiation zone. The crew, who were not on the human list, were successfully evacuated. The admiral was not. The official report blamed the admiral for overriding safety protocols, which he had actually never done. The ship's computer had been compromised, and generated false logs. High-ranking officials found that their protective details could not protect them from threats. Already inside the security perimeter, humans who had spent months establishing trusted positions activated with ruthless efficiency. Targets died in their beds, in secured vehicles, in protected facilities that were supposed to be impenetrable. After 60 hours, Kolrath received updated numbers. Of the 2,369 targets that had been under protection, the humans were systematically eliminating them faster than Vexian security could respond. How? Kolrath asked, staring at the casualty reports. How are they moving this fast? Because they have been preparing for this moment for 8 months, Vross replied. Every operative was in position before we even knew there was a threat. They are not penetrating our security now. They were already inside it. We are not fighting an invasion. We are experiencing the activation of assets that have been dormant and invisible until the moment they struck. Situation deteriorated further when human operatives started broadcasting messages to Vexian civilians. The messages were simple. Anyone harboring individuals on the prosecution list would be considered accomplices. Anyone interfering with human operations would be treated as hostile. Anyone providing information leading to the capture of list targets would be guaranteed. Safety, Vexian society began to fracture. Some citizens, horrified by the revelations about Harmony Station, actively helped the humans. Others tried to hide targets but found that hiding from people who controlled all communications and networks was impossible. Still others simply stayed out of the way and hoped the nightmare would end soon. Premiere. Kolrath found himself facing an impossible choice. Continue fighting and watch as thousands of Vexians died, while human operatives moved through his civilization like ghosts. Or surrender and admit that the Vexian Confederation could not protect its own people. The decision was made for him when the humans brought down every system in the Executive Command Center. Lights, communications, data access, everything went dark for exactly 5 seconds. When power returned, a new message displayed on every screen. 962 targets remaining. Surrender them now, or we continue. You cannot stop us. You cannot hide them. You cannot fight what you cannot see. Choose. Kolrath looked around at his advisors, his military commanders, his intelligence services, and saw the same realization in every face. They had already lost. The war was over before most Vexians even knew it had begun. Draft the surrender order, he said quietly. Contact Ambassador Hayes and inform him we will comply with Earth's demands. The transmission went out across all Vexian networks. Every remaining individual on the human list was ordered to surrender to designated locations for transfer to human custody. Resistance would not be tolerated. Harboring fugitives would be considered treason. Within 24 hours, 819 targets had surrendered. The humans eliminated the remaining 143 who tried to flee or hide. The hunt was over, but the galaxy's reckoning with what humanity had done was just beginning. The Galactic Council reconvened 72 hours after the Vexian surrender, and the atmosphere in the Judgment Chamber was completely different from the first session, where before there had been confusion and skepticism. Now there was fear. Every species present had watched the Vexian Confederation, a civilization of 13.9 billion beings, surrender to human demands after being completely outmaneuvered. Chancellor Torin opened the session with unusual brevity. Ambassador Hayes, the Council has reviewed the events of the past 3 days. We have watched as Earth systematically dismantled Vexian security, eliminated thousands of targets, and forced a sovereign species to capitulate. The galaxy wants to understand what this means for the future of interstellar relations. Robert Hayes stood on the human platform, looking far less like a diplomat and far more like what he had actually become, someone who had spent 8 months orchestrating the largest covert operation in human history. What it means, Chancellor, is that humanity has demonstrated we are serious about holding murderers accountable. We told you we do not negotiate with those who commit genocide. We proved it. You have also demonstrated capabilities that threaten every species in this chamber. A representative from the crystalline communes pointed out, their translated voice carrying harmonics of anxiety. If you can penetrate Vexian networks that thoroughly, you can penetrate anyone's networks. How do we know you are not already embedded in our systems? You do not, Colonel Mitchell replied with brutal honesty. That is the point. For 8 months, the Vexians thought their systems were secure. They were wrong. Every species in this chamber should ask themselves if we can reach the Vexians anywhere. Anytime without detection, what makes you think we cannot reach you? The chamber erupted in angry protests, demands for guarantees, calls for Earth's immediate expulsion from the Council. Several species began discussing military responses. Others called for economic sanctions. A few suggested isolating Earth completely from galactic civilization. Chancellor Torin restored order with difficulty. Ambassador Hayes, you must understand the position you have put this council in. We cannot function if member species believe they are being spied on, infiltrated, and potentially targeted by human operatives. Then do not give us reason to target you, Robert replied simply. Earth's targets were very specific. War criminals who participated in genocide. We did not target random Vexians. We did not strike at innocent civilians. We executed justice against those who murdered our people. If you are not committing genocide, you have nothing to fear from humanity. That is not how security works, another representative argued. You are asking us to trust that Earth will only use these capabilities against legitimate criminals. But you have proven you operate outside council oversight. You have shown you will pursue your own justice regardless of what we decide. That makes you a rogue element? Dr. Marcus Webb stepped forward with his tablet, displaying data across the chamber's holographic systems. We are not a rogue element. We are a species operating under our own legal framework, which the Council accepted when you granted Earth membership. You wanted us to follow your protocols? Your protocols failed. They declared genocide a political dispute and accepted blood money as compensation. He pulled up comparative statistics. In the past 400 years, the Galactic Council has investigated 83 incidents involving deliberate attacks on civilian populations. Of those 83, how many resulted in actual punishment beyond fines? 12. How many perpetrators were extradited for trial? 4. How many attacks were classified as internal disputes outside council jurisdiction? 67. The numbers hung in the air like an indictment. The council's justice system protects the powerful and abandons the weak. You claim we are destabilizing galactic civilization, but your civilization was built on ignoring atrocities when it was politically convenient. Your solution is to appoint yourself as executioner, Torin demanded. To hunt across the galaxy without oversight or accountability? Our solution, Robert replied, is to force you to choose. You can establish real accountability with actual enforcement that applies to all species equally. Or you can continue with your current system, and Earth will continue pursuing our own justice. But you cannot have it both ways. You cannot tell us to follow your rules while those rules protect murderers. A new voice entered the discussion. Representative Mira, of the Talvian Republic, a species known for their philosophical approach to ethics. Ambassador Hayes. I believe I understand your position. Humanity experienced trauma at Harmony Station and responded with overwhelming force. But consider the precedent you are setting. If every species responds to grievances with covert operations and systematic elimination of enemies, galactic society descends into chaos. Representative Myra makes an excellent point, Robert acknowledged, surprising several council members with his agreement. We do not want every species following our example. That is why we are proposing an alternative. He transmitted a document that appeared on every representative's display. Earth proposes the creation of a war crimes tribunal with universal jurisdiction over attacks on civilian populations. This tribunal would have real enforcement powers. The authority to investigate, prosecute, and punish perpetrators regardless of species or political status. Every member species agrees in advance to cooperate fully and surrender accused individuals for trial. The proposal generated immediate discussion. Some species supported it enthusiastically. Others raised concerns about sovereignty. Still others worried about the precedent of universal jurisdiction. This is a significant structural change, Torin observed. It would fundamentally alter how the Council operates. Such decisions cannot be made hastily. Then take your time, Robert replied. Debate, discuss, form committees to study the issue. But understand that while you are deliberating, humanity is watching. Every species is watching. If another massacre occurs while you are discussing proper procedures, the galaxy will remember that the Council had the chance to act and chose bureaucracy instead. Colonel Mitchell added a final warning. And understand this, Earth has capabilities you did not know we possessed. We demonstrated them against the Vexians, but that does not mean they disappear now. Those capabilities exist whether the Council acts or not. The question is whether they are used within a framework of galactic law or outside it. The threat was clear, though carefully phrased. Humanity had revealed itself as a force capable of reaching anyone, anywhere. The galaxy could either incorporate that power into a legitimate justice system or face it as an external threat. Chancellor. Torin recognized the bind. The Council will reassess to consider Earth's proposal. We will reconvene in 48 hours with a response. As the chamber emptied, Robert remained on the platform, watching various species depart in clusters of animated discussion. Some were furious. Some were frightened. Some were thoughtful. All were reevaluating their understanding of humanity's place in galactic civilization. Marcus approached quietly. We might have pushed too hard. Half the council wants us expelled. A quarter wants military action against Earth. Only the remaining quarter is actually considering our proposal. The quarter that matters, Robert replied. The quarter that recognizes we are right. Justice should not depend on political status. Genocide should not be excused as internal affairs. And species who murder civilians should not get to hide behind diplomatic protocols. And if the Council rejects our proposal, then we withdraw from the Council and operate independently. We maintain our intelligence networks. We continue tracking war criminals. And the galaxy learns to live with the fact that humanity will pursue justice with or without their approval. Mitchell joined them, her expression thoughtful. The Vexians are collapsing. 3 systems have declared independence. Their government is in chaos. Some observers are calling what we did an act of destabilization that will lead to a regional crisis. Some observers are right, Robert acknowledged. The Vexian Confederation built their power on violence and intimidation. We removed that foundation. What grows from the collapse might be better or might be worse, but it will not be built on the idea that they can massacre civilians without consequences. And if it is worse, Marcus asked, then we deal with that too. Justice has costs. Sometimes those costs are high. But the alternative, accepting genocide as an unfortunate reality of galactic politics, that cost is higher. They stood together in the massive chamber, 3 humans who had changed the galaxy through patience, planning, and an unwillingness to compromise on fundamental principles. The council would deliberate, and species would argue. The future would unfold in ways none of them could predict. But one thing was certain. The galaxy now understood that humanity meant exactly what they said. They did not negotiate with murderers. They did not forget. And they would pursue justice across stars. And through time, until the guilty faced consequences. The warning had been delivered. The demonstration had been made. And the galaxy would never quite be the same. 6 months after the council hearing, Robert Hayes walked through a memorial garden on Earth's surface, surrounded by trees planted in memory of Harmony Station victims, 4,200 trees, each with a plaque bearing a name and a brief description. Teacher, engineer, child, parent, each one a life stolen for entertainment. They approved it. Marcus Webb approached from the path, carrying a datapad that displayed the final council resolution. The War Crimes Tribunal is officially established. Universal jurisdiction over civilian attacks, mandatory cooperation from all member species. Enforcement powers that actually matter. Robert stopped at a tree planted for a girl named Emma, age 7, who had loved drawing and wanted to be an artist when she grew up. She never got the chance because Vexian soldiers decided children made good targets. Did they include the enforcement mechanisms we proposed? Robert asked. The tribunal can investigate across borders. Member species must surrender accused individuals. Failure to cooperate results in sanctions and potential military intervention. It is not perfect, but it is functional. And the Vexians, the tribunal's first case. 2,819 individuals currently in Earth custody will be tried under the new system. It will be public, transparent, and broadcast across the galaxy. Evidence will be presented. Witnesses will testify. And if convicted, punishments will be enforced. Robert nodded slowly. Good. Let the galaxy see justice delivered properly. Let them understand that this is what should have happened from the beginning. Colonel Mitchell arrived, dressed in civilian clothes since her formal resignation from military service. She had spent the past 6 months testifying before various council committees about Earth's operations, explaining methods and capabilities in enough detail to demonstrate competence without revealing everything. The Vexian Confederation is officially dissolved, she reported. 4 of their 7 systems formed new governments. 2 joined neighboring federations. The last is currently under council administration while they establish legitimate governance. The entity that authorized Harmony Station does not exist anymore. Good, Robert repeated. That single word carrying weight it had not held 6 months earlier. Some species are calling us destroyers, Marcus observed. They claim we destabilized an entire region, caused political chaos, and set dangerous precedents. Some species are correct, Robert acknowledged. We did destabilize the region. We did cause chaos. And we absolutely set precedents. The question is whether those precedents make the galaxy more just or more dangerous.
Ask me.
In 50 years, Mitchell replied with a slight smile. Right now, everyone is still processing what happened. But I will say this, 17 species have contacted Earth through quiet channels. They want to establish similar capabilities. They want training, technology sharing, strategic partnerships. Are we providing it? Selectively. The State Department is evaluating each request carefully. Some species we trust to use these capabilities responsibly. Others we are politely declining. Marcus pulled up galactic news feeds on his pad. The interesting development is how other species are responding to the tribunal. 63 species have voluntarily submitted historical cases for review. Incidents they believe might constitute crimes against civilians. The tribunal's caseload for the next 5 years is already overwhelming, because for the first time, species believe justice might actually be delivered, Robert observed. For centuries, the council has been a place where small species brought complaints and powerful species ignored them. Now there is enforcement. Real consequences. Of course they are bringing cases. The tribunal only exists because we forced the council's hand, Mitchell pointed out. If we had waited for them to act through normal channels, Harmony Station would be forgotten history by now. Which is exactly why we had to act the way we did, Robert agreed. Sometimes you cannot change a system from within. You have to demonstrate that operating outside the system is possible, and then force the system to adapt. A young woman approached the group, walking hesitantly among the memorial trees. She wore the uniform of Earth's newly formed Tribunal Support Division, the agency that provided investigators and enforcement personnel to the War Crimes Court, Ambassador Hayes. She addressed Robert formally, though he had resigned his position months ago. I wanted to thank you. My parents died at Harmony Station. I watched the trials. I saw justice delivered. And now I am training to make sure others do not have to go through what we did. Robert studied her face, seeing determination mixed with grief that would probably never fully heal. What is your name? Sarah Mitchell. She glanced at the colonel. No relation, though I wish I had her courage. You have your own courage, Mitchell replied. Choosing to work for justice rather than revenge. That takes different strength than hunting killers. Is it really different? Sarah asked. You hunted them. Now we will hunt them through legal systems. Either way, we are tracking people who hurt innocents. The difference, Robert explained, is legitimacy. What we did was necessary, but existed in a legal gray area. What? Why? ULDU operates within established frameworks. You will have authority, oversight, and accountability. That matters. Sarah nodded slowly. The instructors tell us you changed everything. That before Harmony Station, the galaxy treated civilian massacres as political inconveniences. Now there are actual consequences. The galaxy changed because it had to, Marcus corrected. Because one species demonstrated what happens when you protect murderers, the Council could either adapt or watch as Earth pursued justice outside their system indefinitely. They chose to adapt. Was it worth it? Sarah asked quietly. The methods you used? The people you became. Was delivering justice worth what it cost you? Robert was silent for a long moment, thinking about 8 months of systematic hunting. About operatives who spent years embedded in enemy societies. About decisions that felt necessary at the time but would haunt him forever. Ask me in 50 years, he finally replied, echoing Mitchell's earlier comment. Right now, I know we did what we believed was right. Whether history judges us as heroes or villains, That depends on what grows from what we planted. He gestured at the memorial garden around them. These 4,200 people deserve justice. They got it, even if it came through methods the galaxy found uncomfortable. Future victims will get justice through proper legal channels because we forced those channels to exist. Is that worth the cost? I have to believe it is, because the alternative means their deaths accomplish nothing. Sarah thanked them and continued deeper into the garden, leaving the three architects of galactic change standing among memorial trees. We should visit the Vexian systems, Marcus suggested. See what emerged from the collapse. Why? Mitchell asked. Our mission there is complete, because we are responsible for what we created. We dismantled their government, exposed their crimes, and forced regime change. The least we can do is observe the consequences. Robert considered the proposal. No, our involvement needs to end. What the former Vexian systems become is up to them. If we continue interfering, we become colonizers rather than liberators. They need to build their own future. Even if that future is chaos, even then, justice means holding people accountable for their choices. It does not mean controlling their futures. We delivered consequences for past crimes. What comes next is their responsibility. They walked together through the garden. Three people who would spend the rest of their lives trying to reconcile what they had done with who they wanted to be. The galaxy had changed. The Council had changed. And humanity's place in galactic civilization had been fundamentally redefined. In orbit above Earth, the first class of tribunal enforcement officers prepared for deployment across the galaxy. Humans and aliens working together within legitimate legal frameworks to pursue justice that crossed species boundaries. Some were motivated by ideology, others by personal loss, all by the belief that civilization required accountability in the council chambers. Representatives debated implementation details of the tribunal system, how to balance sovereignty with enforcement, how to ensure investigations remained impartial, how to prevent the tribunal from becoming a weapon-powerful species used against weak ones. The debates would continue for years. The system would evolve through trial and error. Mistakes would be made and hopefully corrected, but the fundamental principle had been established. Some crimes transcended political boundaries. Some actions forfeited protection under diplomatic protocols, and species who deliberately targeted civilians would face consequences. Regardless of power or influence, Robert Hayes returned home that evening to an apartment that felt too quiet. He had spent 8 months surrounded by operational teams, intelligence reports, and the weight of decisions that affected billions of lives. Now he had time to reflect on what he had become. He pulled up the original footage from Harmony Station one more time, not because he wanted to watch, but because he needed to remember why. Needed to remind himself that the people he hunted had done this, that the methods he employed were responses to atrocity, not initiated violence. The girl reaching for her mother, the soldiers laughing, the systematic cruelty designed to maximize suffering. Yes, he thought, it was worth it. Every compromise he made, every moral line he crossed, every piece of his soul he sacrificed, because those people deserved justice, and someone had to deliver it when the civilized galaxy looked away. He closed the file and looked at new data instead. Reports from the tribunal. Cases being investigated, justice being pursued through proper channels. This was what Harmony Station had purchased with blood. A system that actually worked. A galaxy that took civilian protection seriously. A civilization that punished genocide rather than excusing it. The cost had been terrible. The methods were questionable. The precedents were dangerous, but the alternative, accepting that some species could massacre innocents without consequence, that cost would have been higher. Robert Hayes would spend the rest of his life believing that. Had to believe it. Because if the 8 months of hunting and the systematic elimination of thousands of beings had been for nothing, then he had become a monster without purpose. The galaxy was warned. Humanity does not negotiate with murderers. And now, finally, the galaxy understood why. Not because humans were cruel or barbaric or violent by nature, but because humanity remembered every lesson learned in blood. Every time they had compromised with evil and watched it grow stronger. Every moment they had chosen comfortable peace over uncomfortable justice. They remembered. They learned, and they refused to forget. That was the warning. That was the lesson. That was the truth the galaxy had too. Except, some species pursue justice because it is convenient. Humanity pursues it because forgetting the cost of injustice would mean betraying everyone who died when evil went unopposed. 4,200 trees stood in the memorial garden. 4,200 reminders of what happens when civilization values stability over accountability. 4,200 reasons why humanity would never stop hunting those who preyed on innocence. The galaxy was warned. The galaxy learned, and the galaxy would never be the same. Retriclod can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.